Hi everybody, welcome to another video from Lily & Withers Card Crafts by Lily, and today we're using this gorgeous little stamp set C Street. I haven't had a chance really to play with this very much, so this actually is my first card. I don't have any other examples to show you, but I've been asked repeatedly to show how this is done. I've used the baby wipe technique on our little octopus here and the ink to card technique on the background scene. So what I'm going to do is start with the background scene and show you how to do that if you haven't seen that on any of my previous videos, and then we'll move on to the baby wipe technique. Now what we need is some well inked ink pads, so just double check that your ink pads don't need re-inked. I'm using Soft Sky, Pool Party, Marina Mist and Lost Lagoon. Now if you don't have all of these or anything like that, just basically what I'm trying to do is work with blues or greeny blues to create the sea water. After that I will be creating the sand. For that I've used Sahara Sand, Crumb Cake and Soft Suede. Now depending on how deep I put these on will depend on whether I bother with the soft suede or not. Every card I do turns out slightly different, so let's just see how it goes and we'll take it from there. Okay, so let's clear these ones out of the way just for a second or two, and we'll start with the Soft Sky ink pad. I've inked mine up already. I have shown how to re-ink your pads before if necessary on a previous video. I must do a proper wee video on those sort of processes as well to help. But what I'm looking for with this is we're taking the ink pad straight to the card, and I'm looking for a sweep, that sort of direction. Hopefully it could end up something totally different, but that's what I'm aiming for. When you're using this technique and your ink pad, if you set the ink pad down flat, try to do it flat, it's going to stick to the card and you're going to actually get that harsh corners and what have you of the ink pad. So you're just using the edge as much as possible. You're using the edge of the ink pad. I'm saying all this, hopefully that's going to work. So here goes. Okay, actually let me zoom that in a little bit for you. Okay, my pad is quite inky, so I'm just going to do a couple of little sweeps like that. Let's do a wee one at the top. There we go. Now I will try the Pool Party over the top of that. Not too much because I'm using the Soft Sky as the basis and just sort of adding depth with these other colors. So it's the same thing. Use the corner of the ink pad to bring your color in. Now I know that doesn't look like much at the minute, but it's one of these things, when it's all pulled together it'll be grand. I'm going to bring the Soft Sky back a wee bit because I want to make that a more pronounced sweep down if I can. Oopsie daisy, just slid it. It's a wee bit too clippy. That's grand. And let me see. Tiny bit of Lost Lagoon, just to make it a wee bit darker in places, just to give it a bit more depth. I could probably do with re-inking that one actually, but yeah, do you see where it's all coming in now? Although that is quite dark. It's quite a bit darker, as you can see, than my last card, but that's okay. It'll be grand. Then we start with Sahara Sand. Again, this has been re-inked, so that's probably what's causing it to be a good bit darker. Now, same thing I'm going to follow this line here. I actually prefer to leave a little bit of the white there to sort of separate the sea from the sand, or the seabed I should say in this case. So let's see how it goes. Let me check. Yes, so how's that? I have to check I was using the right one. I can see that re-inking has made a big difference to the colour that we end up with, but that is okay. And I'm just going to bring the crumb cake. That is quite dark, so I'm probably not going to use the soft suede in this instance. Let's just bring the crumb cake in to give it a little bit, not too much. Now I didn't re-ink this crumb cake actually, and you can see the difference. That's interesting. There we go. Anyway, that's okay. I'm happy enough with that. So that's basically the seabed. It's as easy as that. The important thing, as I said on this, is to make sure to use the edge of the ink pad and not the flat. And you'll be doing grand. Now, let's see. What we want to do next is bring in our little, if you can see it. I'm not even going to try and say the word. I would make a total fool of myself. But anyway, seabed plants. And for this, I'm using the little flower from Summer Silhouettes, but I'm only going to be using the top of it. So let me just grab the ink pads here. Right, for this one, I'm going to be using initially the Blackberry Bliss because it's quite a strong colour. And I only really need to ink the top of it. I've over inked that slightly. Now, let's see, I'll put one about the middle. One a little bit down, one up in the corner. You put a little bit down here if you wish. And again. By the way, all the measurements and the full detail of the card will be on my blog. I'll put the details of the blog up at the very end in the credits. If you would just watch out for that. I would love it if you'd pop over and say hi. Okay, now what I want to do here next before I move on is use my gel pens. I need to find which one is working best because they're both running out. Okay, still waiting on my order coming through. And we're just going to, I'm sure you've seen me do this in other videos, just going to bring some light into these little sea plants. I need the fab little Embossing Buddy from Stampin' Up. This is a fantastic little tool. Without it, I have found that when I'm embossing, pieces of the embossing powder stick to areas that you don't actually want it to. So this takes off any static, leaves the dust, takes off any static and moisture from the card that the Versamark could stick to that you wouldn't want it to, or that the embossing powder would stick to that you don't want it to. So that's all that needs, is a bit of a blattering. Sorry about the noise. And I bring in again from the Summer Silhouettes stamp set the little flowers basically, and my Versamark, which is very grubby, but there we go. I'm only going to do a couple of these, because all I'm trying to do is bring some of these to the forefront and highlight them a little bit more than the others. So I'm going to do, let's see, that one. This one. That will do it nicely. I hope you've seen all that. Actually, I forgot it zoomed in there. Bring in a little bit. I'll zoom out a second. Oops. Little bit of scrap paper, my white embossing powder. I'm just going to put the embossing powder over the area that I have the Versamark. You can be quite generous with this because it lasts forever, absolutely forever. And most of it you can put back into the top. I've been using this in classes, I'm sure, for a couple of years, and it's still, there's still loads in it. Just give it a bit of a flick. That's grand. Let me just pour this back in. And Bob's your uncle. Now the next bit's a bit noisy, so I will turn the sound off for this. Yeah, don't worry if your card's a little out of shape, it will bend back. You can actually run the heat gun along the back of it and it should straighten it up. But I don't like the noise of it. So I hope you were able to see, you put the heat gun onto your embossing powder. Keep moving it because you don't want to burn your card. You keep moving the heat gun and your embossing powder will start to almost liquefy, and in this case go white because it's white embossing powder. And once you see that is basically it done. So that really makes them pop out a little bit more. And there is some more embossing to do, but I'm going to do a little bit more of the gel pen work before we get to that. Let me move this across. Sorry, I'm a terrible photographer, aren't I? Right, back to our gel pen. You know, this is one of my favourite items. And I'm just pretending these little ones here to me are in the background. So I'm dotting in kind of smaller flowers myself. I'm going to bring in some additional colour now because it is of course the beautiful tropical seabed and we want all those fab colours in. So I'm using, or what's it called? My head's gone blank. Lost Lagoon, Blackberry Bliss, Hello Honey, I think that is, yes, Hello Honey. This is two from the new markers, Watermelon Wonder and Cucumber Crush. And I'm just going to dot these through randomly to bring in some more colour basically to it. Right, and I want to bring in some of our little starfish. And I'm just going to put a couple of these in this corner. Yep, I think that's probably enough. And I'll bring in our little anchor. I'm going to do the anchor a darker colour. I'm actually going to use my soft suede for the anchor in this instance. That's it inked up. And I'm going to just see where you'll fit in best. And in this case, let me lift the wee crap off. It will be probably in this corner. Okay. And let's put, where's my gel pen? Let's scratch that out just a little bit. Oh, I'll use the other one. Just to break up that solid image a little bit. There, I think that's grand. What do you think? Yeah. And let's pick up on some of these little starfishes patterns. Let's highlight them just a little bit, I think. There we go. Now, in the stamp set, there's this gorgeous little shoal of fish. You could have it going either way. And I'm going to use it basically just to fill in these little gaps in the bottom because I don't particularly like that. Now, I'm going to be using the silver embossing powder. This actually just arrived today. And I haven't used this one before on it, so I don't know how it's going to turn out. Actually, do you know, before I do that, I'm going to experiment on something else. Again, I don't know how this is going to turn out. I thought I would try, fingers crossed, my white Stazon and see what effect that would have on the seawater. So I'm going to do the same thing and use the edge of my pad and fingers crossed. Let's see how this turns out. Just scoring it lightly. This could probably actually do, I have ordered a replacement, a new pad, because I think this one is actually quite dry. But that might actually suit my purposes today. Yeah, I quite like that. There we go. If you can see that, it's just brought like white water effect to it. Just a little bit. Okay, back on track now, Lillian. Let's get sorted. Okay, I need my Versamark. Oh, my Embossing Buddy. If I put it, I want to bring it up a little bit because I'm going to put some of the little shoal up here as well. Put a bit more of that in the bottom just in case. Let's have this one going this direction. And the ones on the bottom going the other direction. And I don't use the whole of the stamp for this, just the top half. Yes, I actually really like the silver. Look how that's turned out. Oh, fab. Really pleased with that. Yay. Okay, let me see. I think the next thing we're going to be doing is our baby wipe technique. So, here we go. Okay, here I've got a baby wipe. Any brand of baby wipe is fine. Oh, that smells lovely. Fold it in half. For this particular stamp size, I'm folding it in half. And half again into quarters. Now, I'm using 3 re-inkers, Black Bliss, Hello Honey and Lost Lagoon for my little octopus. Now I want him going dark to light, so I'm going to put the darkest part at the top. That would be his head and any little tentacles that are at that area. So a couple of bits of ink, a couple of drops of ink, and I just tip them in where I want them. And the best thing to do is to actually have your stamp and see where that's going to go. So I'm quite happy with that bit. The next piece, again, this isn't totally within your control, but this is the fun of it. I am bringing let's say I'm going to bring the blue in and let that tip just along the bottom of my Black Bliss. You can do it wherever you wish. Okay, it's about there. Going to bring in Hello Honey. Honey, here we go. And try not to leave gaps if possible. I know this looks like an awful mess, but it's really fun to do. Put a wee bit more here maybe. And I'm going to come back with a bit of, let's say, actually, do you know, I'm going to come back with a bit of blue, just for fun, just a tiny bit, make it a bit more random, and finish with the blackberry. And just see how this comes out. And this will stay wet for a good wee while if you keep it in a little sealed bag. You can use it over and over again. So basically I've created a multicoloured ink pad. There's my little octopus, and I have my Whisper White cardstock. So here goes. Let's see how this turns out. Just the usual, put him down, make sure he's nicely inked up. Okay. Oh, I don't want to put my cardstock under, that'll move it over a little bit. Hopefully you can still see this. And let's put him down before he dries. Yes, quite like that. That's quite cute. Okay, what we need to do now, I want to just cover this up, so just give me a sec. Okay, I've just covered that up for, it was quite wet. And let's zoom this in a little bit for you. Okay, what I want to do, I've got a Versamark pen here, and I'm just going to draw in along his tentacles a little bit. Get my heat and stick powder. I don't know if you've used this before, but you use this before you put on your dazzling diamonds. So same process for embossing. I should have used Embossing Buddy really, but I'm going to give it a go. So it's heat stick powder. And very quickly before that has a chance to dry, you put your dazzling diamonds on it. I love this, love this. It's just made our octopus a little bit more interesting, and once I cut him out, all that excess glitter will go, and you'll just have it sort of around his tentacles and his head. So there's a bit of fussy cutting here to be done, and I will do that quickly and come back. Okay, we've got our little octopus chappy all cut out now. He's lovely, and the only thing I don't like, and that I will do, is I don't like to see white edges, so I run around with the appropriate coloured marker just to take out the white edges. Right, now we need to go back to our card base, and the last little fellows we need to put in. If I can just get this baby wipe out again. Let me try and move this so that it doesn't make too much of a mess. Clean my hands before I touch anything. Right, we've got the little crab fellow here, and I'm going to just use the baby wipe and see how he turns out. Let's get him inked up a little bit. I don't tap, just turn once on this. And we'll put, let's see, one in here. So, yeah, he's kind of yellow and bluey green. Let's see what this one turns out like. I'll put another little fellow in here. Ah, very nice, like him. Can you see this? Difference in the colours? Yes, quite like that. Let me put this out of the way because that's quite messy. And again, oops, wrong direction, let's move this in. Again with the white gel pen, I'm just going to put a little bit, let's see, tiny little scratch on the outside of his nippers and this little guy here. Maybe a tiny bit down along his body. And I think that's him done. Okay, so let's start assembling this. I've already got my card base cut out from the Blackberry Bliss cardstock. Another piece of Whisper White, just slightly larger, and I'm just going to use glue. My paper piercer because I want to add 4 little mini brads to this. And for the purpose of speeding things along, I put 3 of the little brads in. These are the little mini brads, excuse these. These are little mini brads from Stampin' Up. They're great little items, they're dinky tiny wee things. And you just pop it through, excuse the mess of my hands, and open up the back, and it's as simple as that. Again, I'm just going to use, actually I'm going to pull this in a wee bit, just going to use the glue. Isn't that picture just lovely? I love these wee critters, aren't they gorgeous? And the last thing here is our little octopus. I put a good bit of glue on his head. I don't stick down all his tentacles, but for the purpose of cutting out a couple of the pieces, I had to actually cut through a couple of them, so I'm going, whoops, not too much. I'm going to stick them basically bandage them back together again, the poor wee thing. Finally, I'm going to use my modern label punch. Now I shouldn't be using this, it's retired. I have ordered the washi label punch to replace it, but it's on back order at the moment, shouldn't be too long. And the word window, which is fabulous, love it. And I'm using the happy birthday stamp out of the teeny tiny sentiment stamp set. I hope they never retire this because they are fantastic. Just a little piece of white Whisper White card and a piece of Blackberry Bliss. And I'm going to use, let's see, I'm going to use the Blackberry Bliss ink for the sentiment. Let's move this up a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just going to do happy birthday. Okay. My word window punch. I love the quality of these punches. They are so unbelievably sturdy. Let's punch him out. And my modern label, as I said, this one actually has retired, this punch. I'm really sorry about that because I love it, but I don't have one to replace it at the minute for my sentiments, so I'm just using it for now. And a little bit of, sorry about that, lost my glue. Okay, I'm using a couple of the Stampin' Up! Dimensionals. I love the shape of these. And the size, they're just right. That's about here, I think. And that's our little card done. I will of course decorate the inside and the envelope, but that's the job done for now. So I hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial, and as always, if you've any questions, queries or tips, drop me a comment, go on over to my blog. I'd love to hear from you. But for now, that's it, and look forward to next time. So bye bye.